Racket number two. Let's go to racket number two, because I don't want to focus on this stuff all the time. Racket number two, I think it's a huge move. Redfin makes its rental play with RentPath acquisition. So RentPath is going to be sold after all. It was previously trying to be acquired by CoStar Group. RentPath went through a bankruptcy, restructuring. CoStar Group had a deal in place for somewhere in the high 500 millions. I can give you that exact number, 587 million. And what ended up happening was the Federal Trade Commission and bankruptcy court said, no, this is going to, impact antitrust and basically federal government. Now, the Federal Trade Commission and bankruptcy court has signed off on this deal to Redfin, which is a $608 million in cash deal.
Well, I think it's still
requiring.
The deal still requires a sign off, so it hasn't been signed off yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the Federal Trade Commission, correct, still requiring a trade-off, a sign off.
Said no to CoStar, but we're waiting to hear from Redfin.
That's exactly right. Yes, and so we're waiting to hear. But this is only Redfin's second acquisition. So the argument, talking about monopolies in the last racket, the argument from CoStar buying this was that they have a monopoly on rentals, on the rental market. Okay, well, Redfin certainly does not, and they are trying to bolster their rental traffic. In fact, if you look at Zillow, 200 million unique visitors in the fourth quarter alone. Redfin is lagging that, 40 million monthly viewers in 2020. So this, and I think this is where they're really thinking ahead. It's only their second acquisition. They're not making this like they're not like making acquisitions all over the place. They're not doing this loosely. They're really thinking forward about this. If we can get RentPath, if we can boost our unique traffic count each and every single month and start to catch up to Zillow. But if we can do it in a way where we start with rentals, where we start with young people who are going to be long-term users of our app, who are then eventually going to buy on our platform, I think that's brilliant. They're thinking long-term.
Long-term, yep.
Redfin's always thought long-term. As much as CoStar and Zillow are going to be competing for acquisitions right now, don't forget about Redfin. Their stock was in the 20s a year ago, maybe even less at one point. Now today, over $90. I can look that up, Nicole. What are your thoughts on specifically targeting the rental market for Redfin?
Well, I like you said, I think it's smart. I think it's a long-term move. I mean, we tell all of our even new agents, like, don't push aside rentals because they'll eventually buy. I think that this is an interesting racket that follows our last, because again, we're seeing these companies actually doing something, continuing to invest to provide, especially for their agents though too. I mean, they're trying desperately to keep their agents happy, not get them pissed off, but to show them that they actually have value. And again, I think it'll be helpful probably with recruiting too. They're bobbing and weaving and they're keeping their name in the headline.
So because this is live, I don't think this is because of us, but Redfin has dropped 7% today. They are now under $90, but they're $87, which if you go back to the 1 year mark, I know, and I get it. Every stock is way up, but I mean, March 18th, which is when everything dropped, you could have gotten them for $10, but before everything dropped in February, they're at $30. So they've 3x'd since February of last year. So that's pretty ridiculous for Redfin. They've never really been super profitable. I don't know if they turned a profit in 2020 at any point. They may have. But anyways, Redfin's not going away. If they get a young audience that sticks with them, that then is, we talked about the millennials being the most educated generation according to, what was that? Was that Forbes? Who was that according to? According to somebody, millennials are the most educated. That was based off of how much college they've received. Anyways, maybe they feel like they can do the transaction. Maybe they're in for the discount brokerage model of Redfin because they like the app and they continue to get educated through Redfin. Pretty smart play. Go after the rentals. And you don't hear, to your point, Nicole, you don't hear your brokerage going out and making these acquisitions. You hear CoStar, you hear Zillow, you hear Redfin. Right? We're not talking about all these different brokerages buying up tech, buying up companies to add value to their agents. So, yeah, I mean, the power is shifting or has shifted.
Well,
for sure.
I think they're trying to shift the power. And again, I think I think we'll continue to hopefully see, what do they say, like the foam rise to the top? I mean, I think, again, I to be honest, this is the time to, is it the foam? You know, the cream. Well, I mean, you know, it's maybe too many cappuccinos in my life, but no,
I mean, a cappuccino either in 3 days.
Well, that's unfortunate for you.
It is.
But no, I mean, I think this is the time to strike. There's lots happening. There's lots moving. I mean, it's just like anything else, though. I mean, you start striking up recruiting agents at the beginning of the year. You know, it's sort of like the downtime. Now is the time to sort of gobble some things up and really sort of lay the foundation for the new year. I do think that the pandemic really shook things up. So if people aren't taking advantage of all of that, like, shame on you too. So
and there has to be more to come in the year of 2021. I know
sure.
Brad, when we talked about his predictions for 21, predicted that Open Door would be gobbled up by Zillow. I agreed with that one. We'll see if that actually takes place. There's a lot of movement. There is huge power shifts happening in our industry, and it's not a monopoly like the Instagram DM that I got. It is not a monopoly. It is people competing better than the old guard, and it'll take the old guard to step up, innovate, make some acquisitions, build some personal IP, do these kind of things if they want to maintain the power.
And maybe get on an episode of SNL. I mean, just saying.
Yeah, that was totally planned, by the way. That was definitely planned. That was the Saturday before their earnings call that week. I mean, somebody knew somebody at SNL from Zillow, smart of them.
Yep.
But that was absolutely planned.
Marketing.
Yeah, was
I mean,
brilliant marketing.
Yes.
Brilliant placement.
Yep.
Oh,